Hello, Matt Davis here, looking at a quiz problem from section 4.2, where the goal is to find the slope of the regression equation. So, as I typically do, I'm going to start off by altering this question a little bit so that I'm not doing one where I give you the answer to the quiz question. So I'm going to eliminate one of the columns of data here and work with just a little bit less. So they want us to compute the value of B1 in the regression equation y hat equals B0 plus B1. So or B1x. So because B1 is with the x, that means B1 is the slope. So we're looking for the slope of the equation and round that in such a way that the predictions made with this equation would be reliable to at least one decimal place. That's probably the part that's given people trouble, so we'll definitely focus on that as we go through. But the first thing we need to do is use the calculator to come up with the regression equation. So let me switch over to that. So we want to put the data in, so press the Stat button, go to Edit. I have some data in there already, so I'm going to arrow up to the top with L1 highlighted or L2 highlighted in yellow there. I'm pressing Clear and then the down arrow. That gets rid of the old data. Move over to L1, go up, highlight L1, press Clear and the down arrow, and then that data is gone. So down here just below the 3 is the negative key. So when I put -3, make sure you're using that negative button so that you don't get a syntax error. And then continuing on with the 0, 5, 8, 9, and 12. So there's my x values. Then I'll use the arrow key to column over and put in the y values. So 21, 15, 12, 3, 4, and -4. Once again, being careful to use the negative key under the 3, not the subtraction key next to the 6. All right, so once I get that in, I want to calculate my regression equation. So I'm going to press Stat again, go to the Calc menu, which up top you see Calc in the middle next to Edit. So I choose Calc, and we want the linear regression a plus bx, which on this version of the calculator is number 9. We want that so it matches the format where the x is the last piece. So I pick that number 9, and then I need to tell it where my data is. It's in L1 and L2. Those are in yellow on this calculator. On the 1 key, you see the yellow L1, so I'm going to hit the yellow second key and then L1. Above the 7 key, I have a comma, and then I want L2, which is on the 2 key in yellow, so I hit the yellow or orangish second key, and then that L2, close those parentheses. That gives me my regression equation. So if you look at the regression equation, it's written in a different format than the one on our paper. We have y equals a plus bx, but the slope is the piece that goes with the x, so that's b for us. So that is the -1.5629477 type of number. So that's the one we're going to want to write down. So let's go ahead and switch back over to our notes. All right, so our slope is B1, which was the B on the calculator. The calculator said a plus bx, but the part that's with the x is your slope. Now, the tricky part about making sure it's reliable to at least one decimal place. A lot of people read that too quickly and loosely and just see the one decimal place and think you're being asked to write it with one decimal place. But what you actually have to do is look at one of your big y values. So I always take the biggest y value here, 21, and say, what if I wrote that with one decimal place? So I'll just put an x in that spot. We don't know what it's going to be. How many digits long or significant figures is that 21 point something? If it's to one decimal place, that would be 3 significant figures. So when you write down your slope, you have to write down your slope with at least one more significant figure than what you have right here in a typical or one of your bigger predictions. So for my B1, since this part right here has 3 decimal places or 3 significant figures, I need at least 4 in the B1. So let me move that B1 down here. We need at least 4 decimal places, so that was a -1.563. Just going back real quick and taking another look at that. Again, the B value is our slope because it's with the x, -1.56. It's actually a 2, but there's a 9 after it, so that's why I rounded that up to a 3. A lot of people feel a little uncomfortable with that particular rounding rule. But if you look on your formula sheet, the rounding rule says you need to put at least one more digit than would be in a typical prediction. So I put exactly one digit more than in the prediction. You could always put more. So when in doubt on a slope for regression, if you think maybe you have it and you're not sure, just put a few more decimal places and you should be okay. So the B1 piece is negative 1.563. That's what we're going to enter into the box, and that'll be our final answer. And again, I would guess that common mistakes on this would be entering just a negative 1.6 because you're putting one decimal instead of making sure that prediction would be good to one decimal. Other things that could go wrong is using the subtraction key instead of the negative key and getting a syntax error. All right, I hope that helps you understand this better and that you can jump back into that quiz and improve your score.